What's the deal with doctors not being healthy and not even getting training on nutrition as they're studying to become a doctor? Hi, in case you're new to this channel, I am Slick Nick, your personal keto bro. And no, I'm not a doctor, a dietitian, a nutritionist, a personal trainer. And that's sort of the whole point. Why does it take random people like me on the internet to have a concept of what it takes to actually be healthy and eat the foods that are gonna promote your health instead of push you further towards diabetes and cancer? Why is that? Why is it random people like me instead of doctors? That's a head scratcher, isn't it? So let's talk about this. I have been very much enlightened and influenced by two documentaries on Amazon. So you can, if you have Amazon Prime, you can check out one called Fat Fiction, and the other one you can check out is called Fat. And I would recommend watching them in that order. First Fat Fiction, and then Fat. But what you're going to see with both of them is this concept that it's like a conspiracy. Like, I know that no one wants to believe that conspiracy is real. And if you talk about a conspiracy, they'll ultimately, you're the crazy. But here's the thing. Like, this is the fact. Doctors are not trained in nutrition. They're trained to know which drugs to give you to treat certain symptoms. That's what they're trained to do. So they're being judged on that in the medical community to ultimately sell drugs to treat your symptoms. I mean, let's fathom that and let's accept that. The job of doctors, when you really boil it down, is to prescribe medicine to treat the symptoms of people that are unhealthy. Their job is not to get you to change your diet if that would simply solve your medical issues. That's not their job. They're not being held accountable to that standard. They're being held accountable to selling you drugs. That's their job. So what if we took matters into our own hands and figured this thing out? And that's why I'm so passionate about keto, because when you watch these documentaries, you learn it is basically an accidental conspiracy. I don't think anyone set out to do this necessarily, but we have been brainwashed to believe in the food pyramid at the bottom, all your grains, you need all those grains. And that's quite the opposite. You need a small amount. Of course, keto is 25 to 50 grams per day, and that's it. That's it. Most of our nutrition coming from fat and a moderate amount coming from protein. So the majority of my calories come from fat, and then half as much of what I eat is protein. Okay, so here's the thing. If this was not real, this keto thing was not real, then look at me, a guy who's almost about to turn 40. Most men age 40 in the United States are going to be overweight. I'm not. Now, yes, I am active. I'm going to the gym and I'm walking a couple miles a day, but not extreme cardio or anything like that. I'm not just killing it in the gym. I'm just being average there. I mean, it's nothing that special, but it's largely what I'm eating. And yes, I'm mostly keeping my calories under 2,000 a day, but the majority of my calories, the majority of my food is from fat. So yeah, that includes bacon. That includes 3 eggs a day. And it includes no oatmeal. It includes no pasta, no bread. And this is not just something I stumbled into. I've been basically kind of doing this for several months now. And I've just gotten really that much more strict here recently with it. Making sure that to the number, I don't have more than 50 grams of carbohydrates a day. Making sure that I'm getting 75 grams of complex protein, but doubling the fat. But just fathom that, accept that, okay? Think about this. A person who wants to become a doctor in the United States, it's basically 8 years, ultimately, of education, right? They're not being trained on nutrition. They're being trained on drugs, selling drugs. So if they can't cure you with drugs, then their job is done. So it's really actually pretty cool to think that we can put the power in our own hands. To think, if I'm willing to think outside of how I've been brainwashed, to believe that I'm supposed to not eat fat I'm supposed to have a low-fat diet and high pasta, bread, rice, and all that stuff, then see, most people get stuck in that and they can't get out of it. I'm one of the exceptions. I broke free from that simply because I had a dad bod by the time I was 35, and I was a vegan. I thought I was doing everything right. And I think there are many principles of being vegan that are right, and they carry over, like the high concentration of fat every day. That's important. If you're a vegan, you have to eat a lot of fat per day. And you have to eat a lot of fiber and vegetables, leafy greens. You have to do that. Same thing with keto. So yes, I'm eating bacon every day and eggs every day, but I'm also eating a lot of greens. These are things doctors don't talk about, but it's this simple. Doctors are not trained in nutrition. So random people like me and maybe you know more about nutrition and health and preventing disease and possibly reversing diseases like diabetes simply by the concept of keto. Fathom that. Your comments belong right here.